An unlikely encounter. In a distant corner of the galaxy, on a small blue planet called Earth, there lived a young woman named Zara. Unlike many of her peers, Zara had always been fascinated by the vastness of space and the possibility of life beyond the stars. As a child, she would spend hours gazing up at the night sky, dreaming of the day she would make a groundbreaking discovery that would change the course of human history. Years passed, and Zara's passion for the unknown only grew stronger. She threw herself into her studies, earning degrees in xenobiology and astroengineering from the most prestigious universities on Earth. Her colleagues marveled at her brilliance and determination, but Zara remained humble, always eager to learn more. One day, while poring over data from a recent deep space probe, Zara noticed something peculiar. Hidden among the countless stars and galaxies was a small, uncharted planet, its surface teeming with strange energy signatures. Zara's heart raced with excitement as she double and triple-checked her findings. This was it, the discovery she had been waiting for her entire life. Without hesitation, Zara began to plan her expedition. She knew the journey would be treacherous, filled with unknown dangers and challenges, but she was undeterred. With the help of her robotic assistant, IDA, artificial intelligence for deep space analysis, Zara prepared her state-of-the-art spacecraft, the Intrepid, for the voyage ahead. As the Intrepid soared through the inky blackness of space, Zara felt a sense of calm wash over her. She was in her element, surrounded by the infinite wonders of the universe. For weeks, she and IDA worked tirelessly, charting their course and monitoring the ship's systems until finally they arrived at their destination. The uncharted planet loomed before them, its surface a swirling mix of deep purples and blues. Zara's hands trembled with anticipation as she guided the Intrepid into the planet's atmosphere, the ship's advanced shielding protecting them from the searing heat of entry. As the dust settled around the Intrepid, Zara stepped out onto the alien soil, her heart pounding in her chest. The air was thick and heavy, filled with the pungent scent of exotic flora. Strange, bioluminescent creatures flitted through the dense undergrowth, their eerie glow casting long shadows across the ground. Suddenly, a piercing cry echoed through the forest, sending a shiver down Zara's spine. She turned to Ida, who was already scanning the area for signs of danger. "I'm detecting a large life form approximately 200 meters to the north," the AI reported, its voice calm and measured. "It appears to be in distress." Without a second thought, Zara grabbed her medical kit and set off in the direction of the cry, her curiosity overpowering her fear. As she pushed through the dense foliage, the cries grew louder and more desperate, until finally she stumbled into a small clearing. There, in the center of the clearing, lay a massive creature unlike anything Zara had ever seen. Its body was covered in shimmering, iridescent scales, and its powerful limbs were tipped with razor-sharp claws. But what caught Zara's attention was the creature's eyes, deep, soulful pools of amber that seemed to hold a universe of emotion. As Zara approached, the creature let out a low, mournful moan, its body trembling with pain. It was then that she noticed the source of its distress, a long, wickedly sharp thorn embedded deep within the creature's hind leg. Zara's heart ached with empathy as she knelt down beside the creature, her hand outstretched in a gesture of comfort. "Shah, it's okay," she whispered, her voice soft and soothing. "I'm here to help." The creature, whom Zara would later come to know as Thaxil, gazed up at her with a mix of fear and hope, its eyes pleading for relief. In that moment, Zara knew that her life would never be the same. She had come to this alien world seeking discovery, but what she found was something far more precious, a chance to make a difference, to heal a wounded soul, and forge an unbreakable bond across the stars. As the twin suns of the alien world began to set, casting a warm, golden glow across the clearing, Zara set to work, her mind racing with possibilities. She knew the road ahead would be long and difficult, but with Thaxil by her side, she felt invincible. Together, they would face the challenges to come, and in doing so, they would redefine what it meant to be human in a vast and wondrous universe. The Thorn of Contention. As the first rays of the alien sun danced across the clearing, Zara set to work examining the thorn lodged in Thaxel's leg. The creature watched her intently, its amber eyes flickering with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Zara's brow furrowed in concentration as she gently probed the area around the wound, her mind racing with possibilities. "This is no ordinary thorn," she muttered to herself, her voice tinged with wonder. "It appears to be composed of some sort of advanced biomechanical polymer." Thaxel let out a low, rumbling growl, as if in agreement. Zara glanced up at the creature, a smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "Don't worry," she said softly, "I'll have this out in no time." But as Zara began to extract the thorn, Thaxel suddenly let out a roar of pain, its massive body convulsing in agony. Zara jerked back in surprise, her heart pounding in her chest. "Ida," she called out, her voice tight with fear. "I need a scan, now." The AI immediately sprang into action, its senses sweeping over Thaxel's writhing form. "The thorn appears to be emitting some sort of high-frequency signal," Ida reported, its voice calm and measured. "It's interfacing with Thaxel's nervous system, causing extreme pain." Zara's eyes widened in horror as the realization dawned on her. This was no mere injury, it was a deliberate act of cruelty, a weapon designed to inflict unimaginable suffering. She looked down at Thaxel, her heart aching with empathy. "Who did this to you?" she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. For a long moment, Thaxel was silent, its eyes distant and haunted. Then, slowly, it began to project a series of images directly into Zara's mind, a kaleidoscope of memories, fragmented and painful. Zara gasped as she saw visions of a once proud civilization, a race of noble creatures not unlike Thaxel, living in harmony with their world. But then, the memories turned dark, as a cruel and technologically advanced species, the Zorgans, descended upon their planet, wielding weapons of unimaginable power. Zara watched in horror as the Zorgans systematically wiped out Thaxel's kind, hunting them down like animals and subjecting them to unspeakable experiments. She saw Thaxel, wounded and alone, fleeing into the wilderness as the last of its kind, carrying the weight of a shattered world on its shoulders. As the visions faded, Zara found herself blinking back tears, her heart heavy with sorrow and rage. She looked down at Thaxel, her eyes blazing with determination. "I won't let them get away with this," she vowed, her voice low and fierce. "I'll do whatever it takes to help you get justice." Thaxel met her gaze, its amber eyes shimmering with gratitude and newfound trust. In that moment, an unbreakable bond was forged between the two unlikely companions, a bond that would carry them through the trials and triumphs to come. With renewed purpose, Zara set to work once more, her brilliant mind racing to find a solution. She pored over the data from Ida's scans, analyzing the thorn's complex circuitry and searching for a way to safely remove it. Hours turned into days as she worked tirelessly, driven by a fierce determination to heal her newfound friend. And then, in a moment of stunning clarity, the answer came to her. Using a combination of cutting-edge nanotech and her own ingenuity, Zara was able to deactivate the thorn's signal and extract it from Thaxel's leg, much to the creature's immense relief and gratitude. As Thaxel nuzzled Zara's cheek, its warm breath tickling her skin, Zara felt a surge of pride and affection. She held up the now inert thorn, marveling at the intricate web of circuitry within. "This is the key," she murmured, her mind already racing with possibilities. "With this technology, we can uncover the truth about what happened to your people and bring the Zorgans to justice." Thaxel let out a low, rumbling purr, its eyes shining with newfound hope. Together, the unlikely duo set out into the alien wilderness, their hearts filled with determination and the unshakable belief that, no matter the odds, they would emerge victorious in the end. Little did they know, however, that their actions had not gone unnoticed. Far above the planet's surface, a sleek, menacing spacecraft hovered in orbit, its sensors trained on the clearing below. Within its darkened halls, a figure stirred, its eyes glinting with malevolent intent. So, the figure mused, its voice a sibilant whisper, "The last of the Thaxilians has found a new ally." A cruel smile played across its lips as it leaned forward, its gaze fixed on the image of Zara and Thaxil. How very intriguing. As the spacecraft banked away, disappearing into the vast expanse of space, Zara and Thaxil continued on their journey, blissfully unaware of the looming threat that sought to destroy them and all they held dear. But even in the face of such darkness, they remained undaunted, their spirits buoyed by the unbreakable bond that had brought them together across the stars. A glimpse into the past. As the twin suns of the alien world rose high in the sky, Zara and Thaxil set out to explore the ruins of an ancient civilization that once thrived on the planet's surface. The air was thick with the weight of history, and every step they took seemed to echo with the voices of the past. Zara's keen eyes scanned the crumbling structures, searching for any clue that might shed light on the tragic war that had wiped out Thaxil's kind. Her heart raced with excitement as she spotted a series of intricate carvings etched into the wall of a ruined temple. "Look at this, Thaxil," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with awe. "These markings, they tell the story of your people." Thaxil approached the wall, its amber eyes wide with wonder. As it traced a clawed finger over the ancient symbols, a flood of memories washed over it, vivid and bittersweet. In a flash, Zara found herself transported into the past, experiencing the history of Thaxil's world through the creature's eyes. She saw a thriving civilization, a world of soaring spires and shimmering fields, where Thaxil's kind lived in harmony with the land and each other. They were a proud and noble people, gifted with the ability to communicate through thought and emotion, their minds linked in a vast, interconnected web. But then the Zorgans came. Zara watched in horror as the technologically advanced invaders descended upon the planet, their ships blotting out the sun and their weapons raining destruction upon the peaceful inhabitants. She saw Thaxil's kind fighting bravely, their natural abilities no match for the Zorgans' superior firepower and cruel tactics. The images shifted, and Zara found herself in a dark, cavernous laboratory, where the Zorgans subjected captured Thaxilians to unspeakable experiments. She watched as they probed and prodded at the creatures' minds, seeking to unlock the secrets of their telepathic abilities and harness them for their own twisted ends. Tears streamed down Zara's face as she witnessed the agony and despair of Thaxil's people, their once proud civilization reduced to ashes and their survivors scattered to the winds. She saw Thaxil, wounded and alone, fleeing into the wilderness as the last of its kind, carrying the weight of a shattered world on its shoulders. As the visions faded, Zara found herself back in the present, her heart heavy with sorrow and rage. She turned to Thaxil, her eyes blazing with determination. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "What they did to your people, it's unforgivable." Thaxil met her gaze, its eyes shimmering with gratitude and a fierce, unbreakable resolve. In that moment, Zara knew that she would do whatever it took to help her newfound friend find justice and restore the legacy of its lost civilization. Together, they pressed on, exploring the ruins and gathering evidence of the Zorgans' atrocities. They discovered ancient data crystals filled with records of the war, holographic projections that brought the past to vivid life, and fragments of advanced technology that hinted at the true extent of the Zorgans' cruelty. As the suns began to set, casting long shadows across the crumbling ruins, Zara and Thaxil made a startling discovery. Hidden deep within the temple, they found a secret chamber, its walls adorned with intricate murals that seemed to glow with an otherworldly light. Zara's breath caught in her throat as she realized what she was seeing. The murals depicted a prophecy, a vision of a future in which a lone warrior from a distant world would come to the aid of the last Thaxilian, wielding the power of knowledge and compassion to bring the Zorgons to justice and restore balance to the galaxy. As Zara traced her fingers over the shimmering images, a sense of destiny washed over her. She turned to Thaxil, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's us," she breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. "We're the ones the prophecy spoke of." Thaxil let out a low, rumbling growl of agreement, its eyes shining with a newfound sense of purpose. Together, they emerged from the ruins, their hearts filled with hope and determination. But even as they basked in the warmth of their discovery, a chill ran down Zara's spine. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that some unseen force was tracking their every move. Little did she know that high above the planet's surface, the Zorgon spacecraft had returned, its sensors locked onto the energy signature of the ancient prophecy. Within its darkened halls, the malevolent figure from before stood before a massive viewscreen, its eyes narrowed in cold calculation. "So," it hissed, its voice dripping with disdain, "the human and the beast think they can fulfill some ancient prophecy and stop us." A cruel laugh escaped its lips as it clenched its fist, the metal of its armor creaking with the force of its grip. They have no idea what they're up against, no idea of the true power of the Zorgon Empire. With a flick of its wrist, the figure set in motion a chain of events that would soon engulf Zara and Thaxil in a web of danger and intrigue, testing the limits of their bond and the strength of their resolve. The hunt was on, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The hunt begins. As the first light of dawn crept over the alien horizon, Zara and Thaxil emerged from the ruins, their minds still reeling from the weight of their discovery. The ancient prophecy had given them a renewed sense of purpose, but it had also painted a target on their backs, drawing the attention of the malevolent Zorgon Empire. Zara's instincts told her that they needed to keep moving, to stay one step ahead of their pursuers. She turned to Thaxil, her eyes blazing with determination. "We can't stay here," she said urgently, her voice low and tense. "If the Zorgons find us, they'll stop at nothing, Toe." Before she could finish her sentence, a searing bolt of energy sliced through the air, missing Zara's head by mere inches. She whirled around, her heart pounding in her chest, to see a sleek, menacing spacecraft descending from the sky, its weapons trained on their position. "Run!" Zara yelled, grabbing Thaxil by the arm and pulling the creature towards the dense jungle that bordered the ruins. They plunged into the undergrowth, their breath coming in ragged gasps as they dodged and weaved through the tangled vines and twisted roots. Behind them, the Zorgon hunting party gave chase, their advanced technology allowing them to track Zara and Thaxil's every move. The air crackled with the sound of energy weapons and the snarls of alien predators, genetically engineered to hunt down and destroy any who dared to defy the Empire. Zara's mind raced as she tried to formulate a plan, her eyes scanning the jungle for any sign of shelter or escape. Suddenly, she spotted a narrow crevice in the side of a towering cliff face, barely wide enough for them to squeeze through. "There," she shouted, pointing towards the opening. "We can lose them in the caves." Thaxil let out a roar of acknowledgement, its powerful legs propelling it forward with incredible speed. They reached the crevice just as the first of the Zorgon hunters emerged from the trees, its eyes glinting with malevolent intent. Zara and Thaxil scrambled into the narrow passage, the jagged rocks scraping against their skin as they pushed deeper into the mountain's heart. Behind them, they could hear the frustrated howls of the Zorgon predators, their bulky frames unable to navigate the tight confines of the cave. But even as they pressed on, Zara knew that they were far from safe. The Zorgons had technology that far surpassed anything she had ever seen, and it was only a matter of time before they found a way to flush their prey from their hiding place. As if on cue, a deep, rumbling sound began to echo through the caves, growing louder and more intense with each passing second. Zara's eyes widened in horror as she realized what was happening. "They're trying to collapse the mountain on top of us," she cried, her voice barely audible over the deafening roar. Thaxil let out a growl of defiance, its claws digging into the rocky ground as it pushed itself forward with renewed urgency. They raced through the winding tunnels, the walls shaking and crumbling around them as the Zorgon weapons battered the mountain's surface. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Zara spotted a faint glimmer of light up ahead. "There," she shouted, her heart leaping with hope. "I think that's a way out." With one final burst of speed, they lunged towards the light, their bodies battered and bruised, but their spirits unbroken. They burst out of the mountain, just as it collapsed behind them, a cascade of rocks and debris filling the air with a deafening roar. Zara and Thaxel tumbled to the ground, their chests heaving as they gulped in lungfuls of sweet, fresh air. For a moment, they simply lay there, too stunned and exhausted to move. But their relief was short-lived. As Zara raised her head, she saw a sight that made her blood run cold. The Zorgon spacecraft was hovering above them, its weapons locked onto their position and its commander's face twisted into a cruel, triumphant smile. "Did you really think you could escape us, human?" The Zorgon leader sneered, its voice dripping with disdain. "You and your beast friend have caused us quite a bit of trouble, but now it ends." Zara's mind raced as she tried to think of a way out, a way to turn the tables on their seemingly invincible foe. And then, in a flash of inspiration, it hit her. The tracking device in Thaxel's Thorn, if she could find a way to hack into its signal, she might be able to use it against the Zorgons. With trembling fingers, Zara reached into her pocket and pulled out the small multi-tool device she always carried with her. She turned to Thaxel, her eyes blazing with a desperate, reckless hope. "Do you trust me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Thaxel met her gaze, its amber eyes shimmering with a fierce, unbreakable faith. It gave a small, almost imperceptible nod, and in that moment, Zara knew what she had to do. She leaped to her feet, her device held high above her head like a talisman. With a defiant cry, she activated the tool's electromagnetic pulse, sending out a shockwave of energy that rippled through the air like a physical force. For a moment, nothing happened. The Zorgon commander's laughter echoed through the clearing, cruel and mocking. But then the spacecraft began to shudder and shake, its systems going haywire as the pulse scrambled its delicate circuitry. Zara watched in amazement as the ship listed to one side, smoke pouring from its engines as it struggled to maintain altitude. She turned to Thaxel, a fierce, exultant grin spreading across her face. "Now's our chance," she yelled, grabbing the creature's arm and pulling it towards the safety of the trees. As they ran, the Zorgon ship crashed to the ground behind them, a massive fireball erupting from its ruined hull. Zara and Thaxel didn't look back, their hearts pounding with the thrill of victory and the knowledge that, for now at least, they had outwitted their pursuers. But even as they raced through the jungle, putting as much distance as possible between themselves and the wreckage, Zara knew that their fight was far from over. The Zorgons were a tenacious foe, and they would not rest until they had captured or killed their quarry. The hunt was far from over, and Zara and Thaxel would need all their cunning, all their strength, and all the bond of friendship that had brought them together, if they hoped to uncover the truth and bring the Zorgon Empire to its knees. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the stakes had never been higher. Secrets of the Zorgons. In the aftermath of their narrow escape from the Zorgon hunting party, Zara and Thaxel found themselves deep in the heart of the alien jungle, their minds racing with questions and their bodies battered from the harrowing ordeal. As they tended to their wounds and caught their breath, Zara couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something, some crucial piece of the puzzle that would help them understand the Zorgons' true motives. With a determined set to her jaw, Zara pulled out her portable computer and set to work, her fingers flying over the keys as she tried to hack into the Zorgon databases. It was a long shot, but if she could just gain access to their records, she might be able to find the answers they so desperately needed. Hours turned into days as Zara worked tirelessly, her eyes straining against the glare of the screen and her mind pushed to its limits. Thaxel kept watch over her, its keen senses attuned to any sign of danger, ready to defend its human friend at a moment's notice. And then, just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Zara let out a triumphant cry. She had done it. She had breached the Zorgon firewalls and gained access to their most closely guarded secrets. But as she scrolled through the files, her elation quickly turned to horror. The Zorgons, it seemed, were not content with merely conquering and subjugating other species. They were engaged in a far more sinister plot, one that threatened the very fabric of life itself. Zara's eyes widened as she read about the Zorgons' experiments with genetic engineering, their attempts to create the perfect soldier by splicing together the DNA of countless alien species. And at the heart of it all was Thaxel's kind, the Thaxilians. The Zorgons had not just wiped them out, they had harvested their genetic material, using it to imbue their own warriors with the Thaxilians' telepathic abilities and incredible strength. Zara felt bile rise in her throat as she realized the true extent of the Zorgons' cruelty, the callous disregard for life that had driven them to commit such atrocities. But even as revulsion and anger coursed through her veins, Zara found herself faced with a moral dilemma. The Zorgon databases contained more than just records of their crimes. They also held the key to their undoing, the weaknesses and vulnerabilities that could be exploited to bring the Empire crashing down. With this knowledge, Zara and Thaxil could strike a devastating blow against their enemies, could avenge the countless lives that had been lost to the Zorgons' brutality. And yet, as Zara's finger hovered over the delete key, she hesitated. The Zorgon data, as repugnant as it was, also represented an incredible scientific breakthrough, a treasure trove of knowledge that could be used to help countless other species. Could she really justify destroying it, erasing all trace of the Zorgons' twisted genius, even if it meant sacrificing the chance to bring them to justice? Thaxil sensed Zara's turmoil, its amber eyes shimmering with a deep, profound understanding. It placed a clawed hand on her shoulder, its touch gentle and reassuring. "Knowledge is power," it rumbled, its voice low and resonant. "But power without wisdom, without compassion, is the most dangerous force in the universe." Zara met Thaxil's gaze, her heart swelling with gratitude and affection. In that moment, she knew what she had to do. With a resolute nod, she copied the Zorgon data onto a secure drive, encrypting it with the most advanced algorithms she could muster. She would keep the knowledge safe, would use it to help those in need, but she would not let it fall into the wrong hands. And then, with a final, decisive keystroke, she wiped the Zorgon databases clean, erasing every last trace of their vile experiments. It was a small victory, but a significant one, a blow struck against the Empire's twisted ambitions, a step towards justice for Thaxil's people. As Zara and Thaxil emerged from the jungle, their hearts heavy with the weight of what they had learned, they knew that their journey was far from over. The Zorgons would not rest until they had been brought to account for their crimes, and Zara and Thaxil would not rest until they had seen justice done. But even in the face of such darkness, they found solace in each other's company, in the unbreakable bond of friendship and trust that had brought them together across the vast expanse of space. Thaxil's wisdom and compassion had taught Zara the true meaning of power, had shown her that the greatest strength lies not in brute force or cunning, but in the ability to stand up for what is right, to protect the innocent and defend the powerless. As they set out on the next stage of their journey, Zara and Thaxil's hearts were filled with a newfound sense of purpose, a burning desire to make a difference in a galaxy that had seen too much suffering, too much injustice. They knew that the road ahead would be long and treacherous, that they would face challenges and dangers beyond anything they had ever known. But they also knew that they would face them together, side by side, united by a bond that transcended species and defied the very laws of the universe. Theirs was a friendship forged in the crucible of adversity, a love that burned brighter than the stars themselves. And with that love as their guide, they knew that there was nothing they could not achieve, no foe they could not vanquish, no wrong they could not make right. The secrets of the Zorgons had been laid bare, but the true test was yet to come. Zara and Thaxil would need all their strength, all their courage, and all the power of their indomitable spirit if they hoped to emerge victorious in the battles to come. But one thing was certain: They would never surrender, never give up, never stop fighting for what they believed in. For in the end, that was the true measure of a hero, the mark of a legend that would endure long after the stars had faded from the sky. The confrontation. As Zara and Thaxil raced across the alien landscape, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and determination, they knew that the time had come to confront the Zorgon leader and bring an end to the Empire's reign of terror. Armed with the knowledge they had gleaned from the stolen databases and the unbreakable bond of their friendship, they set out to face their greatest challenge yet. The journey was long and arduous, taking them through treacherous swamps and over jagged mountain ranges, but they never wavered in their resolve. They knew that the fate of countless worlds hung in the balance, but the future of the galaxy itself would be decided by the outcome of their mission. At last, they arrived at the heart of the Zorgon Empire, a vast, sprawling citadel that rose from the barren plains like a cancerous growth. The air was thick with the stench of decay and the hum of alien machinery, and everywhere they looked, they saw the signs of the Zorgon's twisted ambition, grotesque experiments, tortured prisoners, and the broken remains of once proud civilizations. Zara and Thaxil fought their way through the citadel's defenses, their skills and their bond tested to the limit by the Zorgon's advanced technology and genetically enhanced warriors. But they would not be denied, would not let anything stand in the way of their righteous cause. Finally, they stood before the Zorgon leader itself, a towering figure of malevolence and cruelty, its eyes glinting with a sadistic intelligence. "Welcome, Zara of Earth," it hissed, its voice dripping with mock courtesy. "I must admit, I'm impressed. You and your beast have caused quite a stir in my empire." Zara stood tall, her chin lifted in defiance. "Your empire is built on the suffering of innocent beings," she declared, her voice ringing with righteous anger. "It's time for you to answer for your crimes." The Zorgon leader laughed, a harsh, grating sound that echoed through the cavernous throne room. "Crimes? My dear child, I am the law in this galaxy. What I do is for the greater good, for the advancement of the Zorgon race." "Greater good," Thaxil growled, its hackles rising in fury. "You slaughtered my people, harvested our DNA for your twisted experiments. You call that the greater good." The Zorgon leader's eyes narrowed, its gaze falling on Thaxil with a mixture of contempt and fascination. "Ah, the last of the Thaxilians. What a remarkable specimen you are. Your kind's telepathic abilities and physical prowess are truly extraordinary. With your DNA, the Zorgon Empire will be unstoppable." "You're insane," Zara spat, her hand tightening on the grip of her weapon. "We won't let you continue this madness." "Won't you?" The Zorgon leader purred, its voice taking on a silky, persuasive tone. "Think about it, Zara. With the knowledge you've acquired, with the secrets of the Zorgon databases at your fingertips, you could be the most powerful being in the galaxy. Join me, and together we could usher in a new era of scientific advancement, of unparalleled discovery." For a moment, Zara hesitated, her mind reeling with the implications of the Zorgon leader's words. The temptation was there, the lure of knowledge and power almost overwhelming. But then she felt Thaxil's presence beside her, felt the warmth and strength of their bond, and she knew that she could never betray her friend, could never abandon the principles that had brought them this far. "No," she said, her voice calm and resolute. "I'll never join you. Knowledge without compassion is meaningless, and power without morality is the most dangerous force in the universe. I'll fight you with every breath in my body, every beat of my heart, until the galaxy is free from your tyranny." The Zorgon leader's face contorted with rage, its facade of civility crumbling away to reveal the monster beneath. "Then you will die," it snarled, lunging forward with blinding speed, its claws outstretched to rend and tear. But Zara was ready for it, her reflexes honed by months of training and hardship. She dodged the Zorgon leader's attack, rolling to the side and coming up firing, her weapon spitting bolts of searing energy at the enraged alien. Thaxil leaped into the fray, its massive form a whirlwind of claws and fangs. its mind locked in a telepathic duel with the Zorgon leader's own formidable psychic powers. The battle was fierce and brutal, a clash of wills and ideologies that shook the very foundations of the citadel. Zara and Thaxel fought with every ounce of their strength, every shred of their determination, fueled by the knowledge that the fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders. And then, in a moment of blinding clarity, Zara saw her chance. The Zorgon leader, distracted by Thaxel's relentless assault, left itself open for just a fraction of a second, but that was all Zara needed. With a final, desperate lunge, she plunged her weapon into the alien's chest, the energy blade piercing its twisted heart. The Zorgon leader let out a howl of agony and rage, its body convulsing as the life drained from its monstrous form. It crashed to the ground, its eyes glazing over in death, and Zara and Thaxel stood over it, their chests heaving with exertion and emotion. For a long moment, they simply stared at each other, their eyes speaking volumes that words could never express. And then, as one, they turned to face the cameras and communications equipment that lined the throne room walls, the devices that had broadcast the Zorgon leader's every word and deed to the far corners of the Empire. With a deep breath, Zara stepped forward, her voice ringing out clear and strong. "People of the galaxy," she began, her eyes blazing with the fire of conviction. "My name is Zara, and I come to you with a message of hope and liberation. The Zorgon Empire has fallen, its leader defeated by the power of compassion, the strength of unity. No longer will innocent beings suffer under the yoke of oppression and cruelty. No longer will the strong prey upon the weak, the powerful exploit the vulnerable. From this day forward, we stand together as one, united in our common humanity, our shared destiny among the stars." As Zara spoke, Thaxel stood beside her, its presence a silent testament to the unbreakable bond that had brought them to this moment. And across the galaxy, on countless worlds and in countless hearts, the seeds of hope and change began to take root, the dream of a better tomorrow finally within reach. The confrontation was over, the battle won. But for Zara and Thaxel, the true journey was just beginning. A journey of healing, of growth, of building a new and better world from the ashes of the old. Hand in hand, heart to heart, they set out to meet the challenges of the future, secure in the knowledge that together, there was nothing they could not achieve. For in the end, that was the true power of their bond, the true magic of their love, the ability to light the way forward, to guide the galaxy towards a brighter dawn. A new beginning. In the wake of the Zorgon Empire's fall, the galaxy was a changed place. The news of Zara and Thaxel's victory spread like wildfire, igniting the flames of hope and rebellion on countless worlds. Beings of every shape and form, once divided by the Zorgon's cruel machinations, now stood together in solidarity, united by a common dream of freedom and justice. Zara and Thaxel found themselves at the center of this galactic revolution, their names spoken with reverence and awe by all those who had suffered under the Zorgon's rule. They were hailed as heroes, as saviors, as the living embodiments of the unbreakable spirit that had brought the mighty empire to its knees. But for Zara and Thaxel, the true reward was not in the accolades or the adulation, but in the knowledge that they had made a difference, that they had fought for something greater than themselves. They had set out to save a single life, to right a single wrong, but in doing so, they had changed the course of history itself. In the days and weeks that followed, Zara and Thaxel worked tirelessly to help rebuild the shattered worlds left in the Zorgon's wake. They used their knowledge and their skills to heal the sick, to comfort the grieving, to bring hope to the hopeless. And everywhere they went, they spread the message of unity and compassion, the idea that all beings, no matter how different, were bound together by the common threads of life and love. As the galaxy began to heal, as new alliances were forged and old wounds were mended, Zara and Thaxel found themselves called to a higher purpose. The newly formed Galactic Council, a body of representatives from every corner of the cosmos, offered them a position as intergalactic ambassadors, a chance to continue their work on a grander scale. For Zara, it was a dream come true. a chance to use her knowledge and her passion to make a real difference in the lives of others. For Faxil, it was a chance to honor the memory of its fallen people, to ensure that their sacrifice would never be forgotten. Together, they accepted the Council's offer, their hearts filled with a sense of purpose and determination. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy, that there would be challenges and obstacles at every turn. But they also knew that they had each other, that their bond was stronger than any force in the universe. As they stood on the steps of the Galactic Council's Great Hall, the eyes of the galaxy upon them, Zara couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought them to this moment. She thought of all the beings they had met along the way, all the lives they had touched and been touched by in return. She thought of the lessons they had learned, the truths they had uncovered, the love they had shared. And most of all, she thought of Faxidel, the being who had started out as a stranger, an alien creature from a distant world, but who had become the most important person in her life. Through all the trials and triumphs, the laughter and the tears, Faxil had been there, a constant presence, a guiding light in the darkness. Zara reached out and took Faxil's hand, her fingers intertwining with its claws in a gesture of unity and affection. "We did it," she whispered, her eyes shining with the light of 1,000 stars. "We saved the galaxy." Faxil looked down at her, its amber eyes filled with a love that transcended the boundaries of species and space. "No, Zara," it rumbled, its voice a soft, gentle purr. "You saved the galaxy. You showed me the power of compassion, the strength of the human spirit. You taught me that even the smallest act of kindness can change the universe." Zara felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, tears of joy and gratitude and unbridled, uncontainable hope. She leaned into Faxil's embrace, feeling the warmth of its body, the steady beat of its heart. And in that moment, she knew that no matter what the future held, no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, side by side, hand in hand. For they were more than just friends, more than just allies. They were the living embodiment of the unbreakable bond between two souls, the enduring power of love and understanding in a galaxy that had seen too much hate and fear. They were the guardians of the future, the keepers of the dream, the shining beacons of hope that would light the way forward for generations to come. As they stepped through the Great Hall's towering doors, ready to face the galaxy and all its wonders, Zara felt a sense of peace wash over her, a sense of rightness and purpose that she had never known before. She looked up at the stars, at the endless expanse of the cosmos stretching out before them, and she knew that this was just the beginning, the first step on a journey that would take them to the very edges of the universe and beyond. And with Faxil by her side, with the love and the laughter and the unbreakable spirit that had brought them this far, Zara knew that there was nothing they could not achieve, no dream they could not make real. For in the end, that was the true magic of their bond, the true power of their love, the ability to turn the impossible into the inevitable, to make the unimaginable real. Together, they would build a new galaxy, a better galaxy, a place where all beings could live in peace and harmony, where the mistakes of the past would be remembered but never repeated. They would be the shepherds of this new age, the guardians of the light, the champions of hope and justice and love. And as they walked forward into the unknown, their hearts filled with the promise of tomorrow, Zara and Faxil knew that their story was far from over. It was just beginning, a tale that would be told and retold across the stars, a legend that would endure long after they were gone. For they were more than just heroes, more than just saviors. They were the living proof of the power of compassion, the strength of unity, the indomitable resilience of the soul. They were the hope and the dream and the shining light that would guide the galaxy forward, now and forever. And hand in hand, heart to heart, they stepped out into the infinite possibilities of the universe, ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that as long as they had each other, there was nothing they could not overcome, no challenge they could not meet, no darkness they could not conquer. Together, they would change the galaxy. Together, they would make the future bright. Together, they would build a new beginning, a new hope, a new dawn for all the beings of the cosmos. And the story of Zara and Thaxel, the nerdy human and the alien beast, the unlikely heroes who had saved the galaxy with the power of their love, would echo through the ages, a testament to the enduring strength of the spirit, the unbreakable bonds of friendship, and the limitless potential of the heart.